right now. But right now we're going to Fox Sports national analyst. He's on the national side of things. College football on Fox. We're certainly proud to have an affiliation with Fox Sports Radio. He does foxsports.com, the number one show on Fox Sports. RJ Young, it is good to be able to catch up with you. It's been too long, my friend. Welcome back to T-Town.
I appreciate you having me, Ryan. What's going on?
Hey, I'm good, man. I can't wait to kind of pick your brain about a lot of different things. But, this is one of the questions that we're asking the audience. How are you spending this final weekend before college football gets here? You catched up on the honeydew list? You knocking out some projects?
Well, I'm probably going to get on the bike and go around town a little bit. I got a Continental GT 650 Royal Enfield. Really love that thing. Probably get into my MR2 Spider, take it around town, and probably end up at the Speedway.
Yeah. Okay. That's not a bad way to spend the final weekend before college football. But hey, we want to pick your brain about a lot of different things. We want to talk about your Ultimate 134, RJ Young's Ultimate 134, and we want to kind of focus in on Alabama. Let's pick up kind of when you look at Alabama. Give me your thoughts on this Crimson Tide football team for 2024.
I mean, it's the 9th best team in the country and the 5th best team in the SEC. And I realize that I disagree with the AP by a whole 4 spots, but I would tell most Alabama fans to calm down if you're not happy about this, because there's room for growth here. Number one, I'm not going to treat that team like it's coached by Nick Saban. I'm just not going to do that. Like, if you saw number 5 this year from me, it would have been because Nick Saban was head coach. Kalen DeBoer's a great coach. He ain't won a game in the SEC. Okay? He's got a roster that is about as talented as the one that Coach Saban had, and Coach Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time. Those are big shoes to fill. And then I got to take a look at it and go, all right, you got Wisconsin, which you got to win on the road. You got that bye. Then you got Georgia, alongside at Tennessee, at LSU, at Oklahoma, against Missouri, and against Georgia. And by the way, South Florida and Auburn gave you the what for and the how now, so they ain't gimmies. I think 9 is a great spot for Alabama to start with, and you get some wins here. You go back-to-back against Wisconsin and Georgia. We're going to start talking well about you all over the country. So I think they're in a good spot. They're a top 10 team. If you want to be a top 4 team, go get me some wins.
Let me ask you, when you look at the rebuttal, and this is what we're trying to counter here. Yeah, Nick Saban was top-heavy when you look at the greatest ever walk the sidelines. But his assistant coaches had begun with a downward trend. His quality assistant coaches were just not there. He saw guys with baggage. He had to get guys who were kind of been fired at other spots. But we think Kalen DeBoer's coaching staff, top to bottom, is better than Coach Saban's assistant coach side of things. Would you buy that argument?
No, not one bit. Nick Sheridan lost his job as an OC and got a new one only because Kalen DeBoer said so and couldn't get Ryan Grubb to come down. Okay? That's number one. Number two, Kane Womack got to show me something, right? Linguist came down from Buffalo after coaching in Michigan. Okay, fine. I'll let you have that. You got some players over there. I'm also going to add in here, y'all been spoiled with assistant coaches. Like, yeah, they come in there, but he turns them into winners. Lane Kiffin was damaged goods. Now Lane Kiffin's one of the better coaches in all of football. Steve Sarkisian was damaged goods. He's one of the best coaches in football. Mario Cristobal at, my goodness, Miami. We could talk about Dan Lanning being a GA on that staff, and do I need to remind people that the reigning king of college football, Kirby Smart, was his longest-serving defense coordinator. I just don't buy it, guys. I don't buy it. I think that Coach Saban has done such a job to continue to put that place in a position to succeed, so much so that they're going to name the damn field after him. So, no, I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to disagree with the thought that you don't have a great coaching staff with Nick Saban the last 4 or 5 years. And by the way, while we're here, that 2020 national championship team on the short list of one of the greatest college football teams of all time, given what they had to play through and given what they had going on, all of us had going on. I just got a hard time thinking about anybody that was on that staff that wasn't any good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Man is a proven winner. He's 104-12. The man has lost an entire season of football games in 20 years. You know, now this is going up, right? We're going from the NAIA all the way up to big-time college football and having competed in the national championship just last year. He's doing all the right things, too. Like, I got to tell you, for a guy that ain't from the South and a guy that hasn't coached in the SEC before, He's doing everything he can to ingratiate himself with almost everybody. And, oh, by the way, Coach Saban thinks he's a hell of a good football coach. And any man that Coach Saban thinks is a hell of a good football coach, I think is going to work out long term.
What do you think about Jalen Milroe in this system?
Hell, if he can turn into Michael Penix Jr., everybody's going to be real happy about that. I mean, Michael Penix Jr. was a great passer who had knee injuries, right, shoulder injuries, comes back from rehab, and he's a player. I think if there's something to change about Jalen, I think it's simply, can you complete a pass over the middle that we feel good about? That's it. We know about his deep ball accuracy, and we know about his ability to play make. Matter of fact, I remember going down to Katy, Texas, watching him play at Katy Tompkins, and the thing was, is that dude ever going to throw the ball? Because he didn't have to. It was one read, and he was gone. I also think he's chippy, and I love a chippy quarterback. I love a chippy quarterback because those guys are always going to struggle to get the recognition that they deserve. I think that dude has everything that you need to win a national championship, and I think he's got the highest ceiling of any starting quarterback in college football.
What's the ceiling for this Alabama team? In your opinion, RJ, we're talking to RJ Young, Fox Sports national analyst. What's the ceiling for this team?
Ceiling is national championship, like it is every year. Like I say every year. I'm old enough to remember
when they can get there.
Well, hell yeah, they can get there, but I'm just not going to put them in there right now. I mean, it'd be asinine to say that Alabama can't get there. Now, number one, you're playing in the toughest league in America. You run through that league. You win the SEC championship, we're probably going to pick you to get to the national championship. I don't think that this – I don't understand, right? There's room here. Is there not room here to grow? Because if you start them out as the national champion, nobody's going to believe that. Nobody. But if they go win some games, it's going to be like old times. Hell, did you think that Alabama was going to make the college football playoff after losing to Texas? I would venture to say no. Yeah. What do you think they would have beat Georgia last year before the game?
That would have been a no, too.
Okay, all right. That's all I'm saying. We can be reasonable about it. That's all.
But RJ, is it when I look back at last year? Okay, and I this is going to sound crazy. Maybe it's just the new college football, but to me, that team had no business being in the college football playoffs, right? I mean, it was not a quality team. If you're ranking 10 Nick Saban teams, that would be 10 out of 10. That team was able to navigate it. That may tell us a lot about college football and what it takes to win now compared to what it did 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
I don't know about that because 2019 Alabama's right there, and all they did was make the Citrus Bowl, right? Like that they were right there. And we're talking about the difference between beating Auburn and not is what we're really talking about. Did you beat them or not? And that team beat them. Okay, that team beat them with the damn gravedigger play. 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe finds Isaiah Bond standing in the back of the end zone. I'm just going to say when it came time to make a play, those kids made a play. And by the way, they had Michigan right where they wanted them until they didn't. Like 2 yards, and we're playing another overtime. And then what, right? We could be talking about Alabama being in that national championship game. I also think that it shouldn't have been up to them because I think Florida State fans are right to be aggrieved. I mean, I'm standing on the table all last year going, they ain't played nobody. And then I'm also saying if they run the table, they need to be in. And they ran the table. And you told me that their quarterback was not good enough for them to make the college football playoff when all we do is tell the kids that it's a team sport. That's all we do. That's all we do. We yell and scream. It's a team sport. It takes more than just one. They made it about one damn player, and they put Alabama in there. I don't think Alabama's going to turn anything down but their collar. But I am going to say that team has showed me enough to make the college football playoff, just not over an undefeated Florida State team, and I think that's true in every year.
When you look at your 134, you've got Ohio State at 1, Georgia 2, Texas at 3. How big is the gap between those 3 teams?
3 spots. Yeah, that's how big the gap is. I don't do in between the lines. It's 1 to 3, and it's 1 to 3 for a reason. It's also what are we really discussing here? And the way I put together the 134 is I start with who I think has the best chance to win the national championship when we start playing football games, and then go from there. Right? That's gonna change. I don't believe in putting out a list or a ranking that is supposed to hold up through the entire season. That's why we play ball games, right? This is a primer. This is where we're starting. And I tell you what, the reason these things are important is because somebody out there is going to vote for Vanderbilt to win the damn SEC title, And ain't nobody going to get on with that. But if you had Vanderbilt starting out as a top 25 team, and then you got to think about all the work we got to do to get somebody else in the top 25 because somebody was stupid enough to put the Commodores there, we got a problem. And that's the reason why I take these things so seriously, right? The rankings matter. Preseason, postseason, they matter because we got people that do not take this sport as seriously as some of us, and we already get maligned for this stuff. So the least we can do is try to do the best we can with what we got. We start playing football games, then we're going to figure some things out. Hell, it might be as quickly as week 2, we might have a new number 1. I mean, not for nothing, Clemson would love to give Georgia a loss here, and maybe they can do it given what we know about what Georgia's done off the field. I'm really curious, but that's why I start these things. I start them with who can win the national championship and go down.
Are you believing in Oregon to compete not just for a playoff spot, but a national title?
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I? Like, I don't. The reason I got I think when I talk about these things across the country, there are parts of the audience that just doesn't watch the other part of the football. And by that, I mean the other part of the football would be Big Ten, right? The other part of the football would be the SEC. I got folks in Oregon who don't think that Alabama's worth a damn, and I'm going, y'all are in for a rude awakening. And I got folks in Florida who are like, I don't know about Oregon. Dylan Gabriel's a player. Right? Put it this way. Dylan Gabriel needs to pass for 4,353 yards to become the all-time leading passer in the sport over 155 years. Okay? With Will Stein, the coordinator, probably going to get that. He's got Evan Stewart at wideout, which y'all know about because he was over at A&M making it happen. He's got Tez Johnson returning. They got a defense that can get after folks. And remember, this is an Oregon team that when Mario Cristobal went into Columbus, Ohio, and handed them an L without Kayvon Thibodeau. And I think Dan Lanning is a better football coach than Mario Cristobal. And, oh, by the way, another Nick Saban, Kirby Smart disciple up there in the Big Ten. Yeah, I believe they can win a national championship.
Let's go to Ole Miss. The pressure and the attention has never been more than it is right now. I mean, Ole Miss has been a team that's been blocked by Alabama and LSU and other teams in the SEC West. Can Ole Miss really make a run at this in 2024?
Well, I think they're throwing it all in on this one, man. You look at what they did in the transfer portal, and all I asked Lane to do was tell Pete to put a damn lid on the defense, and then we can start talking about playing ball because they got all the skill players they're ever going to need. You know, that part. Walter Nolan is a big one for them. Ivy is a big one for them. But I'm also looking around and I'm going, look here. I grew up as a child in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, okay? My mama had me worshiping at the altar of Patrick Surtain, right? Brett Favre was down the road. Southern Miss is the squad. You didn't get caught dead rooting for Ole Miss, okay? There's reasons for that. But one of the reasons was they ain't do nothing, and they ain't done nothing to nobody. Now, we got to take it back to, what is it, Johnny Vaught, the last time that they had as many wins as they did last year, because the school record for 11 wins, right? But both of those losses, as you pointed out, were to Georgia and Alabama. Well, hell, they ain't got them both on the schedule this year. They ain't got Alabama. So you gear up, you go beat who you got to beat, and then we'll see where it lies. I think the other thing that's going to happen here is we're going to find out how deep they are, because this 17-game schedule it's going to show itself. Your too deep is going to get some work. I know they got talent. I know that they're scary fast on offense. I just don't know if they're going to be able to hold up for an entire year.
Yeah, you brought up depth. We played the audio, I think it was yesterday and Wednesday, from Kirby Smart talking about depth. And, we kind of put these Bama blinders on in camp. And yeah, it's a big problem here in Tuscaloosa at certain positions. Certain positions they would be able to navigate it. But when I heard Kirby Smart kind of address it earlier this week, I mean, that's one of the top teams in college football, and he's going, depth is a problem. I mean, it's going to be a survival contest in 2024, the world of college football.
Good. I like it that way. I really want to see who can bring out a Chris Comer, if you will. And by the way, since we're here, Ryan, y'all got one of mines, okay? Number one, Josh Jacobs' jersey's over here in the house. We hold it up, right? It's a big deal out here. But the other one you got is my high school football coach's son. Okay, Mike Adams coached me football here in Memorial at Tulsa. His boy Cole is a player, and I was mad as hell to find out he got out of the state. And then I found out where he's going. Well, I mean, Nick Saban recruits you. You're going to go play for Coach Saban. I think Cole is a great example of the depth that you have offensively, right? You got to see a little bit of it, but I got to tell you, that was a dude that was projecting at safety like his daddy in high school up here at Owasso, and all y'all got him out there doing is catching everything that get thrown in his direction. I think if you got a bunch of Cole Adams on your squad, you got enough depth to get by. It is a dude that doesn't also get injured. It's a guy that takes care of his body, takes care of his classwork, and is credible over the middle. That's what I wanted to white out. If you got a bunch of those, you're in a good spot.
Well, you mentioned Cole Adams. Jamarcus Shepard was on our station on another show, and somehow Cole Adams just got brought up. I mean, listen, he's in that rotation as a wide receiver, and the speed is dangerous. We love Jamarcus Shepard. I mean, man, he is fun to be able to listen to. But he brought up Cole Adams as a name that kind of keep an eye on, maybe the under-radar kind of pick in that wide receiver room.
What's told me that he was a player for them is that he's rotating in with Ryan Williams. That's the squad that he's rotating in with. You got one, I believe, on the outside, one on the inside. I don't know if y'all use X or Y's down there. I'm not really that into Nick Sheridan's offense. Okay, thank you. It's that. If you're rotating in with the only two-time Mr. Alabama football, you must have a little bit of speed, right? Now, again, I'm just mad as hell because we saw it here for 4 years, and the boy got out of state. You know, it's one of those things. But I think that Cole also is going to give everybody Ladd McConkey vibes from Georgia. They're going to give you Slade Bolden vibes. Insert, right, fast white dude in the middle, Hunter Renfrow. That's who that dude is going to be for you. And I think he's going to be one of your favorite players. I think he's going to be one of those guys that people that love Alabama football and know the program wrap their arms around because he's everything you want in a Tide player.
Give me a sleeper team in the SEC.
Oklahoma. Heck yeah. Oklahoma. Everybody, look here. I done said this before, and I'm probably going to keep saying it. One of the things that makes me who I am is I embrace where I am from, and I am blessed to cover the sport nationally. But in the state of Oklahoma, that's the pro team. That's the pro team. And we wanted to join the SEC because we wanted to play the best, and we wanted to know that if we beat the best, we're going to get an opportunity to play for a national championship. The thing that I've been telling folks is it ain't that Oklahoma got to play the SEC. It's that the SEC got to play Oklahoma. I need you to understand me now, all right? Ain't nobody saying it ain't tough over there. But if you're talking about some stuff in our neck, we got some things to show. And I just don't like the way that folks are talking about Oklahoma as if we're some sort of Central Florida. You know, as if we're some sort of UTSA born yesterday. Last time I checked, Heisman Trophy winners and national champions came out of here. You know, first round overall picks came out of here. So why aren't we thinking about Oklahoma as a favorite? Now I got to pick them as a sleeper. That's where we're at, Ryan. I got to pick Oklahoma as a sleeper.
Well, now listen. We're going to embrace Oklahoma, but I want you to take the national hat off for just a minute, okay? Because we have Texas people who call local sports talk radio in Tuscaloosa just to talk smack, okay? I mean, these Texas people, we welcome Oklahoma, but this Texas ego, can you give us some advice on how to deal with these Longhorn fans?
Well, they shut up with a win for the most part. The other part is they'll like to tell you that, you know, Texas was a nation before it was a state. And like, yeah, you got annexed. That's how that happened. We put you back in your place. That's what happened. And that's all you got to do with them. Remind them that the first Big 12 championship they won since 2009 came from a player that saw Colt McCoy play as a 4-year-old. All right? Remind them that their first entry to the college football playoff was last year and that y'all were in a room there. Remind them that Auburn has won a national championship since they last won a national championship. Remind them that Auburn goes, I believe, 6-7 last year and damn near had Georgia and Alabama dead to rights. All you got to do is tell them, hey, look here, y'all got lucky last year, but now you got to play Alabama and then some this year. I could keep going on about Texas because, well, I'm an Oklahoma fan, and we got to play in the Cotton Bowl every single year. But the thing that I always point to them is if you talk about wins and losses and championships, you're not in the conversation. That's just true. You're just not in the conversation. If you want to talk about NFL draft picks, you're not in the conversation. Not really. You got one dude in Bijan Robinson the last 5 years, and then we've got to talk about Xavier Worthy. That's it. I think you need to remind them that they are never living up to their potential. And that, I think, is a travesty because Texas has enough money, enough pride, enough alumni, and damn sure enough talent that they should not lose a national championship. They should win every single one. So they always doing the least with the most. If that's what they're bringing to the SEC, well, that number 3 ranking I got them at, that's going to fall. And you know, they're going to be quiet now anyway because they're down 2 scholarship running backs. They're number 1 and they're number 3. And they're going to have to start moving dudes over from linebacker to fill out the depth. I don't know that you're going to hear a whole bunch from them here in the next few weeks. But I tell you what, they better beat Michigan. They don't beat Michigan, you might not hear from them for the rest of the year. They do beat Michigan, yeah, they're going to blow up your phone lines. That's just what they're going to do.
RJ, give me a mid-major that you're keeping an eye on in 2024. Somebody that could kind of be a part of this 12-team playoff.
Memphis. University of Memphis. Ryan Silverfield and them boys, they're hunting. Now, 2 things on that. One, they got Florida State on the menu, which means that they go get that W. Yeah, okay, there's your quality win, let alone if they're the automatic qualifier coming out of the American. They should probably be a Big 12 team if we're being honest about this because that's how they've been operating. And you know what? They want it. Like the thing I always tell people about these Group of 5 programs is you can always tell which one of these programs wants it by what their name, image, and likeness collectives are doing. If it feels like they're in disarray, they don't want it. If it feels like they're all pulling in the same direction, oh, yeah, they're going to be on your head. Like, we're talking about Missouri being a top 10 team because they were way out in front on name, image, and likeness. They were streamlining it, and it showed up last year. It's going to show up this year. Memphis got $25 million from Fred Smith and FedEx because they want to win. I'm telling you, man, you ought to be terrified of these G5 programs that want to win because they ain't got nothing else to lose. They know what you think about them, and they're using every advantage they can to get into your face because all they're going to say is all we want is for you to put us on the same field with them. You do that, we got a shot. And that's the thing. I'm terrified of Memphis if I'm playing them this year.
RJ Young, check him out, foxsports.com, foxsports.com. You can also connect with him on the YouTube side of things. You can connect with him on the number 1 show. All of that and above is at RJ_Young, at RJ_Young. RJ, we love the passion, man. We love people that love college football the way that we do, and we always enjoy the chats, man. It's been too long. I hope you'll come on again in the future. Thank you.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having me.